Now, hi everyone, welcome to Women's Health Matters podcast, and where I'm joined by amazing guests that help us in all aspects of our life. If it's what we're wearing, if it's about our hormones, if it's about how we sleep, how we decorate our houses, and also please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I always forget to say that. And if you're interested in getting my free 4-day perimenopause transformation course, I'll attach the link below, and all you need to do is just give it a click. And today I'm joined by Sharon, and I'm going to let Sharon introduce herself and tell us what she does. So hi Sharon, and welcome to this podcast.
Oh, Lucy, thank you so much for having me. I'm actually really excited to get chatting to you today.
Oh, so am I. Can't wait to hear about all the things that we can do. So tell us, what do you do?
I previously worked as a midwife and a health visitor for 30 years, and I gave that up a couple of years ago to start my own business. And I declutter and organize people's homes and businesses so that, and this isn't about rearranging their dishcloths. This is actually about rearranging the clutter that's in our minds, the reasons why we're keeping things, and the emotions that are attached to the items in our home. So that's what I do. So I was trained by Marie Kondo, the Japanese tidying expert, and I am now her master certified consultant. So I'm one of the leading consultants in Europe, and I love what I do. Love what I do.
Wow, I've watched her on the television, and I'm like, how do you do this? Actually, there was another program on BBC with Stacey Solomon.
That's right.
And where they take the whole contents of their house out, and then it's laid out in a barn or in a big huge warehouse, and then they go through it, and the stuff, like I remember one family, it was a family of the mom, and I think she had 3 daughters, and they had like 557 bottles of nail varnish. I was like, holy smokes. But you don't realize that you gather that stuff. And I think those things maybe are easy. Well, for me, it would seem easy to get rid of. But what if you came across something that was a bit like sentimental? How do you deal with that? Because I can imagine there's a few things here now as I'm looking around my house in my imagination that I'd like, oh, I'm not sure I'd want to get rid of it.
And everybody has a different sentimental, and that's the thing. So if you were to start with those items, the sentimental items, you will never let anything go. Or if you do, you're going to let them go with guilt. So you're going to feel so guilty that you're letting them go. So what we do is just like Stacey Solomon did, we bring everything together. So we do it category by category. Your clothes together, your books together, paperwork, miscellaneous together, and then your sentimental last. And the reason we do that is because you then have built up the confidence in making decisions on those items that don't really matter. Your sentimental really does matter to you. So by the time you get to that, you can do this no problem. You can go through it and make the right decision for you. So and what I do isn't about getting rid of things. It's certainly not. It's about surrounding yourself with those items you absolutely love, that spark joy in your heart, that make your heart sing, or those items you need. So that's what we would encourage. It's not about getting rid of things, because that lowers your vibration. And it's really about holding on to those items you love or need and letting go of the items that you don't, with gratitude. So you're grateful for the reason it comes into your life. So sentimental, you will have got down pit pat by the time you get to it.
That's really interesting. Well, I'm just thinking of like my cupboard. You know, if you go shopping and there's tins in the cupboard that are out of date. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I just feel it's such a waste to throw away those tins, even though I know I'm not going to use them. I just feel really guilty about actually chucking them away.
But I understand that, because you've worked hard for that money that you spent on those tins. So I get that. And that's something that we all have. We all have a reason for holding on to our items. So for you, if you let them go, if you got rid of them, you'd feel guilty because you spent money on it and you didn't use it. For others, they're maybe not letting things go because somebody gave it to them and they'd feel guilty letting it go. what would that person think? Or it might be that you've spent a lot of money on a wedding outfit. You know you'll never wear it again. You can't even fit into it, but you're going to hold on to it because that would be a waste if you let it go now. So it's really just reframing our thinking. That tin will forever sit in your cupboard, never used, because number one, you can't use it, it's out of date. And number two, it's making you feel guilty every time you open that cupboard because you know you should have used it.
I
So
know.
for me, it's letting it go and letting it go with thanks. It's showing you that you have to go through your cupboards, check what's out of date, and then use up, put the stuff that needs used first at the front and use it up. So you'll not keep repeating that if you do something about it.
Yeah, keep recycling it around, because that would be me. I just go back again and go, oh, we need more tuna. Let's buy it. And then it ends up in the back of the cupboard and it doesn't get
Yeah. The cat could have the tuna now, and it's not wasting. If you can't eat it, give it to the cat that can eat it. Yeah.
I know. It was interesting actually, because there was on the radio yesterday, I think it was on News Talk, and he was at the dump at the electrical items, and this lady came along with a brand new Kenwood toaster, I think, or a toasty maker, and she said it's never been used and she can't give it away, no one wanted it, so she said, I'm just sending it to the dump. And I was like, oh, that's just a waste and of money. In my head I was thinking, oh my god, I'll take the toaster. Yeah.
If you think of sunk cost, Lucy, sunk cost is that lady has gone out and paid for this toaster, so she does not have that money in her purse now. It's gone forever, never, never. And what sunk cost is acknowledging, yes, the money was handed over at the time. Now, it happens that she hasn't got the use out of it, but normally you would have a use out of something. So you have used it, you've enjoyed it, you have whatever, it's brought you memories, and just let it go, knowing that you've already paid for it. So it's not costing you anything to let it go. It's just emotionally costing you to let it go. It's getting your head around it, isn't it?
It is getting your head around it. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It is. And I think it's the same with, you're right, with clothes. They're in the wardrobe and you go, oh, there might be a time when I'm going to wear that again.
Yeah. When I lose 6 stone and I'll get back into that pair of trousers, I know will look fabulous in me. I know. Yeah. But again, that's okay having it there whenever it's in your wardrobe, making you feel guilty. That number one, I haven't lost the weight. And number two, it's there. I don't want to wear it, but I feel bad that it's in there. And quite often our wardrobes are so stuffed that we can't get any more into it. We can't physically fit any more into it. But whenever we're going out for a night or for an occasion, we've nothing to wear.
I know, so that's a big one.
Yeah, so we can't see the beauty that we have because there's so much stuff around that beauty. And that's why it's important to at least start with it. Make a start.
Yeah, because that's a big one. When you want to go out, you're like, what am I going to wear? But I think that's down to, again, how you feel in yourself. If you're feeling bloated or skinny, or if you feel like you can wear that outfit or that outfit. I often would, if I've got something coming up, I'd kind of know what I'm going to wear before I've even gone to the wardrobe, actually.
Yeah, you're just picking it out, Lucy. Yeah,
that I picked it out already. I'm going to wear that. And then the most annoying thing is sometimes when you put it on, then you're like, oh, maybe not.
The mirror tells a different story.
Yeah.
I must tell you, actually, I worked with a fabulous client over the last couple of years. Of course, it was all virtual. So I wasn't able to go into her home, but she still wanted it done. She still wanted to declutter and organize. So I was working with her virtually, and we were doing her wardrobe. We were doing her clothes. And whenever she had said to me initially, whenever we come on initially, she said, Sharon, I don't like my clothes. I just don't like them. She wasn't looking forward to it, but she didn't know what to expect. So I said, okay. And we talked her through it. And within 2 hours of us working together, she was starting to hang up the clothes that she'd chosen, that she did like, that she did love. And she was hanging them back up. And she stopped when she just hung something on the rail, and she stopped dead. And I thought I'd lost connection. And I waited a wee moment, and she turned around to me and she said, Sharon, I feel that I'm looking at my own boutique. These are the most beautiful clothes that I have now. She couldn't see them before because they were stuffed in with other stuff. She says, every item that I have hanging up in my wardrobe now, I love, I'm excited to wear, and I feel like you have given me my own boutique. Now that for me was priceless. And I often tell that story because that's really what it's about. It's about appreciating what you have and knowing that whenever you open that wardrobe, every item there you'll be able to wear and you'll be excited to wear.
What are the most common things that women hold on to? Is there a common theme with us, or is it different for everybody?
It is different for everybody, actually, and it depends on the person that I'm working with. So some, and why they have brought me in. So some people are ready to move forward in their life. They're at a period of transition. So maybe they've got a new job, or they've recently got separated or divorced, and they know they're changing as a person and want their clothes to reflect that. So from that point of view, it can be quite emotional because they're letting go of all them. They're having to, and they think by holding on to the stuff that they'll keep memory, but it's not. You're not only needing to keep the stuff to have the memory. You have the memory in their heart, So a lot of people would struggle initially. There'd be one or two items there that they think, oh, I need to keep, I need to hold on to, and they really do struggle with it. And what I would say is, if you're decluttering and organizing your wardrobe and you come across something that stalls you, something that you don't really like, you don't really love, but you can't let it go, I say hold on to it. Absolutely hold on to it, but don't put it back into your wardrobe. Put it somewhere different. So get a cupboard that you're going to put all those items that you struggle with, that you can't let go of. And whenever you get to the sentimental category, you make the decisions about those items at that stage. So you don't have to put it back into your wardrobe. So again, it could be shoes, a scarf, whatever that memory brings back, or whatever that feeling of guilt they're dealing with. I would say to them, don't feel you have to let it go. That's not what this is about. This is about surrounding yourself with joy and those things that you need. And if you're struggling with one or two items, put them to one side.
Yeah, because stuff becomes, if you think of those programs like, the hoarders, where you see, I remember watching one program and he was sleeping outside because there was so much stuff in his house. Luckily, it was like California or somewhere where it was really warm, but he was actually sleeping outside of his house because of his stuff. It became so, it was very sad actually, to see that had happened, and that you just have to keep holding on to things.
Yeah, and that's exactly why. And this can happen so easily. And there'll be many people listening here today that think, I feel ashamed of my home. I'm not able to keep it. And I don't mean even just the hoarders. I mean that in between perfection and hoarding, there's a broad spectrum, and we all lie somewhere within that. And what I would say is, do not feel guilty. Your home is the way your home is. And knowing that and being ready for change is the first step. You'll never change unless you have an awareness that you need to change. So if you're feeling guilty and feeling ashamed of your home, that's actually a good thing, because that is you getting ready for change. If you didn't feel that, you would never take that first step. You wouldn't be ready. So as long as you decide to have a plan of action to do something about it, that's brilliant. Do not judge yourself. It is what it is. And honestly, to stand in judgment and say this is terrible, you're wasting your energy. Put the energy into doing something about it. And I know it's not easy. I was there myself. I just did too much stuff and I didn't know how to manage it. And I was highly organized, but just I spent my whole time moving my stuff from one place to the next. And in my mind, that was tidying. And the energy that I put into that every day was, and I never could get on top of it. That was the thing. So if I wasn't tidying, I was thinking about, I should be tidying. And once I did the KonMari method, that just changed in an instant. So don't feel ashamed. Just decide you're ready to change.
It's hard to admit that, actually, isn't it? It's hard to kind of go, yeah, I'm not happy with this, because generally I know with my own clients, I know I don't do what you do, but I know that they come in and they would say, I just closed the door. Just don't even look in that room. I close the door. It's not a room that I want to go into. Or the wardrobe or something. You know, we'd be discussing, maybe there could be a wedding coming up or something, and they're like, no, I have absolutely nothing to wear. I've got lots of, you know, then I'd be like, just, you know, in general chit chat conversation, and they're like, no, nothing, I'm going to go and buy something. And then it's another item, isn't it, that gets...
It is. And yet they probably have something beautiful in the wardrobe. I had a lovely client that I was working with yesterday, and she has a graduation coming up, and all of a sudden she says, oh, this is the dress I'm going to wear for graduation. She'd bought it in lockdown. The tag was still on it. She loved it, but she'd forgotten she had it.
Yeah, I know.
So this actually, if you do organize your home, this will save you a fortune. And then whenever you do shop, you'll know exactly what you need. You're only buying those items to add to your wardrobe, not, you know, things that you don't need.
Yeah, because sometimes, you know, the way like you go shopping and you get that feel good factor, you know, it kind of gives you that release of endorphins when you go and buy a new something.
Yeah.
So how do you create ways of creating that without adding more to your house? Could be anything, could be a dress or a chair or vase or glasses.
I love that question. That is perfect, because we all do that. We all do love that shiny red thing, and it's almost like a beacon. Buy me, buy me, buy me. And you're right. The endorphins you get is you're handing over that money. Just you come out skipping. You absolutely come out of that shop skipping, and then once you get to the door, maybe a wee bit further, maybe your front door, you're thinking, oh, I don't really like that, or oh, it wasn't really that comfortable. It's the instant gratification. And we all, that's just, as consumers, that's what's happening nowadays. Everything's a click now, buy now. So once you do the KonMari method and you surround yourself with those beautiful items, your vibrations are raised to a level that you feel joy. I come into my home now, Lucy, and I love it. I look around and the energy in it is beautiful. I know I only have those things that I love. So there's nothing in my environment to bring me down. And what happens is I want more of that. I'm also attracting more of that into my life because my vibrations are higher, my energy is higher. And what happens is I appreciate the items I have, because I don't have lots of stuff and I'm by no means minimal, but I only have the items I love. What happens is I don't feel the same need to have that instant gratification, that rush, because I'm already getting it by seeing the beauty within my home. So I appreciate my items, I take care of my items, and that's, for me, that changed my shopping habits completely. I used to be a real bargain basement. I loved a bargain, and I would have bought so many clothes, but we never used them, we never wore them. So that's all changed, and now I don't even lift it up unless it sparks joy for me in my heart.
That's interesting, actually. Yeah, because a lot of us would be, you know, like a bargain completely. Yeah. And you feel like good, even better when you come out of a shop and you've had a bargain. Yeah. Or if there's a sale on, you definitely, the sales, I don't know, you just feel like you have to buy something because it's in the sale.
That's right. And they market that so beautifully that you feel you've missed out if you're not at that sale. I loved a lineup. I thought a queue was fabulous, and I would have been getting up in the middle of the night for a queue for a well-known store for years.
Would you have done that? I never did that. I could never get that in my head.
And in fact, I love the bargain so much that I actually had run out of arms to carry the stuff for the family, for the children and my husband, and I just ran out of arm carrying space. But to me, I got carried away with the whole thing. I ended up spending a fortune that I didn't need to spend, and on items that I wouldn't normally buy. So it was a false economy from my point of view. Never again. And that's the beauty of it. Never again.
So how, as busy working women or mums or carers or whatever we do, how how do you make the space or time to go delving in your cupboards to clear out, you know, the excess of Tupperware or whatever, you know, whatever it is, the wardrobe or your makeup's another one I'm thinking of, because I often, you know, I love makeup, but only use a few items really. Do you know what I mean? Just your few bits that you like. So I actually have restricted that down. I only get what I need and when I need it. Where do you find the time to go through this?
Yes, so you do have to, number one, you have to be ready for change. Number two, you have to put it into your diary. So this is going to take a bit of time. Normally what we do is we superficially tidy. And as I was saying to you, we do cupboard by cupboard or room by room. That never lasts. So in order to do the KonMari method, you need to allow the time for it. And whenever you allow the time, this will free up time later on. And I'm saying that because I was constantly busy, as I was saying to you. Now, because my home's always sitting tidy, I don't need to be continuously tidying. So this is once only. It's like ripping the Band-Aid off. Once only. You allow time. If you were going to do for somebody else, you would allow the time. Do this for you. Do this for you and make a start. So even start small. If you can't get the motivation to do it in its entirety, start small. Do a drawer or a cupboard so that you get that feel-good factor. Be aware this won't last though, but at least that's making a start. And that's sort of, you're getting results and you're feeling good, because we all know what a good clear out feels like. You feel amazing, absolutely amazing. So what I would say is, if you're not ready to commit fully, then do make a start on those smaller tasks and at least try and keep that cupboard or that drawer tidy. The bits that you've already done, try and keep tidy and on top of it.
So in ways like it's you almost rather than going shopping for new items, you're saying get the endorphins by getting a cupboard cleared and maybe put yourself to lunch afterwards or something.
Oh my goodness, totally. Now I don't buy people stuff for their birthdays or Christmas or whatever. Experience. So you're right. Go out and pamper yourself with a nice facial or something rather than going to the shops. Once you know what you have in your home, go shopping by all means. So again, it's not about not shopping, but yes, it's about changing your whole perspective around it. So if you're going to do the KonMari itself, you will know exactly what you have, because you'll be bringing clothes together. And then you'll know, I don't have a white t-shirt and I need one, or I had 15 tops of this particular color. So you'll know exactly what you have and what you need, and then you can shop.
How did you go from going right back to the beginning, midwifery, which is something amazing, bringing babies into the world, to this, to being, I don't know, what do you call yourself? A
KonMari consultant.
KonMari consultant. How do you know? How do you make that switch, that transition?
Oh, well, as I say, I was in the National Health Service for 31 years, and I never saw myself leaving it until, and I loved what I was doing. I really did. I loved dealing with babies, dealing with families, mothers. But once I did this myself, I completed my own KonMari journey. I knew this was special. I knew that I had to tell others about it. And for me to hold on to it was selfish. So I thought, right, how am I going to do this? And Lucy, at the start, I really struggled with this because I don't put myself out. I'm quite a quiet person, private person, until a mentor of mine once said, you're being selfish, holding this information to yourself. And I thought, oh, it really touched the nerve. And I thought, actually, you know what? He's right. He is right. There's ladies out there that this will change their lives. And why would I hold on to this information? So then I thought, right, okay. And I did my friends' homes and my sister's home. And I thought, right, this really works. And I went away. Then I decided then to be trained by Marie Kondo. And again, I didn't think I was going to open a business and leave nursing. I thought it's something maybe I could do as a sideline. But once I started on this is all about the momentum. every single person I worked with were just fascinated by the changes that it brought to their life, that I knew I had to keep going with this. So about, I'd say maybe 2 years ago, I gave up health visiting and completely, and I would have done the odd wee bit in our local neonatal unit whenever they'd have been short. And again, I suppose that was the last high. It's now finished now. I'm completely, I just have got so busy. I'm needing to devote all my time to this. So it was an accidental transition, but one that has, this is my passion in life, and this is what's brought me to here.
Wow. And how did you decide to do the KonMari method in your own home? Because you were saying that you were really tidy and everything was where it should be.
No, I wasn't tidy. I was well organized.
Okay, organized.
Yes, but I had too much stuff. Yeah, I know. I had too much stuff. So for anybody there today thinking, oh, I've always been like this, I really wasn't. I had, whenever somebody would say to me that they were coming over to visit and they'd be over in 10 minutes, I would panic and I'd think, oh, what am I going to do with all this stuff? I just do too much of it. I'd open a cupboard and heel everything into the cupboard and think, right, okay, I'll sort that out later. I never got around it because I was so busy spinning plates. So I came across Marie Kondo's book, I think it was 2014. I don't know how I heard of it, but it came into my life at the right time. And I ordered it and I read it and I thought, right, she has promised me that if I follow exactly what she tells me, I will never have to tidy again. And for me, I thought, right, okay, I'm going to try that. I was cynical about it. I thought it was a really good way to sell a book. I really didn't think it would happen. But that's the truth. But I knew that I had to do something. I had to try something. And I tried, and I started it the next day with my clothes. Lucy, the change for me, that first session, that first day was enormous. And I thought, I'm going to give this a go. And so that's
how, like, I'm really interested in this because, okay, so one half of the wardrobe is me, and it's like just mess. And PJ is so neat, like everything is neat. All neat. But I want the jumper at the bottom. So if I pull it out, everything falls out. And because I'm racing out the door or just don't have time, shove it all back in.
Shove it in. Yeah.
So how, like, where do you start with? Because I tidy it all up. And then I have to be in the mood to get it all right. And as you're right, you're absolutely right. Because I was thinking, how would you tidy and then be messy again? Because when you just keep it tidy once it's tidy. But
no, because you're superficially tidying. That's exactly why you're superficially tidying. So if you think of if you count up the amount of hours you spend in a day tidying and multiply that by 365 days, that's a lot of your time. That's a lot of your life that you should be spending on you, spending with your family, doing those hobbies that you love. And clutter, I was fascinated by clutter and why it has that effect on us. So I did quite a wee bit of research and I co-authored a #1 best-selling book. And my part was how clutter affects us physically, emotion, physiologically. And it is fascinating, Lucy. It really, really is. It taxes our brains. Our brains have to multitask and they don't do it effectively. So I suppose I'm thinking about the community of ladies who will be listening to this, who are maybe at a stage in their life where maybe they're premenopausal, perimenopausal, or menopausal, who feel that they have brain fog, who feel they're chasing their tail, all of those things we know that happens. Clutter has the same effect on us. So it's going to exacerbate everything that your listeners are going through. What happens is we can't concentrate properly whenever we're in a cluttered environment. And that's research-based. It's not just that you feel that stale energy. You know, whenever you go into clutter, how you feel it brings you down. You don't want to be there. As you say, you close the door.
You close the door,
Yeah.
Well, I look at it and I go, not now. I can't do that.
Not today. Absolutely. And we can't be productive where it's a lot of ladies feel anxious around it. And again, physiologically, there is a reason for that. Depressed. There's inertia. We're so overwhelmed. We know it needs to be done, but the overwhelm is causing us to do nothing because we don't know where to start, so we don't start. So all of these are common. And what I would say to anybody listening today, if you feel that way, it's okay. That's absolutely normal. Absolutely normal. And it's not your fault. So all you need to do now is put a plan of action in and just make a start on it. And if they struggle with that, reach out to me. I'll give them a hand. Absolutely no problem. Yeah, because we shouldn't have to do this alone. We really shouldn't. We just should do it once and once only.
Yeah, that's very true. As women, we do feel that we shouldn't ask for help in these things that we, as women, we think we should have a hold on or a handle on, that you should be able to keep your wardrobe tidy. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what a grown-up is, but you know, I've allegedly a grown-up, but you know, that it should be tidy, that it shouldn't look like a teenager's wardrobe. Yeah.
And there's the shame again, because they think, well, everybody else can keep theirs. I can't. I'm telling categorically that the majority of people struggle with it. So do not feel that you're the only one. And Instagram shows fabulous homes, and they are only Instagram ready. They really are. That's not real life for a lot of people. So again, no comparison, no judgment, just make a start.
Yeah, because whenever when everyone comes in now, my house wouldn't be tidy, but it wouldn't be untidy. It would be lived in. That's how I would describe it. And everyone would describe my house as lived in. But the first thing I do is like, oh, please don't mind the mess, as they walk in the door.
Yes. Yeah.
Please don't mind the mess. Because I haven't had time to tidy up. Well, for me, it's prioritizing. I have other things. I love being outside with horses and riding and things like that. So, so for me, tidying up the house is just not top of my priority. So I'd sooner be outside doing things I like doing. So it just gets put on the back burner.
Of course, because there's only so many hours. What's that?
Exactly. Unless it's raining or a horrible day outside or cold or dark, then I might tackle.
Lucy, isn't that so interesting? So you, in your mind, well, because you want to be outside and enjoying the ponies and all, so in your mind, you equate organizing your home, decluttering your home with dark, wet days. So there's a bit of this, isn't it fascinating? Yeah.
It's just because I can't be outside, you see.
Yeah, totally. I get that. Yeah, you can't be where you want to be.
In the mood. And then you're right, you tidy up a room and then it's back in a tip again.
Yeah. And it's always somebody else's fault. It's the children won't put them back, or the husband or the dog or the cat or whatever. Yeah, I know.
How do you change? Actually, how do you train children? Because my kids just take off. Now I've one left home, one who's going to leave home on Thursday week, and one that's still at home. And she just takes off her, she's having a shower, she'll just take off her clothes, and that's where they stay until I go. I say, please can you pick them up? Or I just pick them up.
Totally.
This is like a trail of socks all over the place.
Yeah. And Lucy, these aren't skills. I always thought that I was an expert at tidying because I spent all day, every day doing it. And in my mind, I was an expert, but I didn't have the skills to actually organize properly. And what happened was, I have 3 children, and I hear exactly what you're saying. And I completed my own tidying first. Everything within my home that I needed to do, I did it first. And then I said to my youngest daughter, I think I can't remember, maybe 17, 18 at the time. And I said to her, come here, will you let me help you KonMari your room? Number 1, she wasn't ready. Number 2, she was actually busy that day. So I forced her, really. She was very good. She did, but I shouldn't have done. It wasn't effective. It wasn't, we had it, even the language that she was using wasn't what you would want. So I knew it wasn't successful, but she was so good and she did it anyway. So then And she would have been quite organized, but it was
I love
still a
that.
lot of
You
stuff.
just, we're doing it, that's it.
Yeah, I know, because I wanted to do it. So then she came to me a couple of months later, and I can't really remember the time frame, but I think it was a couple of months later. And she said, "Mum, will you help me KonMari my room?" Lucy, the difference in that one, even the words she was saying, "Oh, I love that. It's fabulous." She keeps her room immaculate, and now she's been to university, and every year she moved from flat to flat. I would have went over, and we would have got it reset. She keeps it impeccably. My older daughter's the same. They are fabulous. And then my middle son, I used to have to close the door whenever he was growing up as a teenager, and I used to think, but whenever I reflected on it, he was doing what I was doing. My home wasn't organized. So how was he ever going to learn those skills of getting organized?
Well, now you're scaring me.
Yes, seriously. And whenever I thought of it, I thought, yeah, how is he going to ever get organized whenever I can't do it myself? But he also came to me after both girls had done it at this stage, and he says, "Mum, will you help me KonMari?" Lucy, he keeps his room beautifully. So I work with children from 3 years up. The children learn these skills at that age, and these are lifetime skills that they need. Absolutely. So I think don't be afraid if you have children of bringing them into the process. However, they have to decide for themselves, 3 years and up, what things spark joy for them. And that strikes fear into many a parent's heart, because you're taking away the control. Will they give away something that Granny and Granda got them and they'll be annoyed? Or I spent a lot of money on that item. I had to work through that, but it was well worth it, because then they look after their items then. So they want to keep on top of it. They want to tidy.
Yeah, that's very interesting, actually. Yeah, because I've asked Amber, she's saving up for an iPad, because I want her to be able to value having an iPad rather than just buying one for her. And I said, like, you've got stuff in your bedroom that really isn't, well, I don't know what, I didn't say age appropriate, but it's not age appropriate for her now. You know, she's outgrown those items, but she's not willing to give them up at all. And I said, you could maybe sell them on done deals, or we could give them to other children. No, not ready.
But do you know why she's not ready? Because she's probably thinking she's going to lose out by doing that. She's not seeing what she's gaining within her room. Even change the terminology with her, and don't even talk about letting those items go, because you know that's what's going to happen. You know that. Talk about let's organize, let's get your room so that you can see all your beautiful items. So keep talking about showcasing her beautiful items, having them easy seen so that she can reach them easy. And once she automatically does that, she'll be happier then to let go of those items. So you get the same result, but it's just approaching it differently.
Reframing it.
That's it. Yeah.
That's interesting, actually. Yeah. I'm going to try that now. Let's get the beautiful items on show, and the ones that you don't want to see you maybe, or we can let go. Yeah. Because she has a box in her room, a cardboard box that she treasures.
Oh, and why are they in a cardboard box if she treasures them?
No, it's a cardboard box because she plays with it, because she's designed it into something herself, and she doesn't want to let it go.
Well, that's good for her. Yeah. That should stay there then until she's ready.
Yeah. And you're right, the room has become more cluttered because I bought more shelving to put more stuff into to get it off the floor. But it's just, it's cluttered. Yeah.
And that's so interesting you say that, Lucy. That's exactly what happens. People buy more storage thinking that's the problem. It's absolutely not. I would advise people buy nothing more, no storage, and use the storage that you have until your entire home's done. And then you can go out and buy storage. You can buy fabulous storage that you need then. But I will guarantee you'll not need to buy much,
So this is my last question, because you've been really amazing. What do you do with the stuff, when you've thanked it and released it out of your life, and you have a pile of items like clothing we can give away to the clothing bank or charity shops, the stuff that's able to be, all of it gets used because it gets used as rags and everything. But what do you do with the, say the Tupperware dishes? I'm just trying to think of things, or like the miscellaneous stuff that's just stuff that like cables and old cables from phones and old phones and those type of things that because being conscious of landfill and all of that stuff, you chucking it out in a way, like how do you be less conscious of that, for green living?
Yeah, what a fabulous, I love that question, Lucy. That's it. And I suppose I could answer that in a couple of different ways. And the first thing I would say is, whenever you have the items that you're letting go of, please, please, please do not offer them to your mother, your sister, your friend, unless they would go into a shop and buy that item full price. Because what you don't want to do is salve your own guilt by giving it to somebody. But in essence, what you're doing is you're creating that guilt for them. Again, they're not going to be able to let it go because you've given it to them. Absolutely. And you're really it's like a domino effect. The likes of the Tupperware, I love Tupperware that I'm not going to use. And I would say to people, don't throw it out for now. So create a cupboard within your home or a store somewhere that you will store all these storage boxes. So bottoms and tops and lids of things, square, and you're going to use them for temporary storage until your home's done. So Tupperware is fabulous. I love it. You won't need the lid, but definitely the pot part. And you would categorize different drawers. So that's what we would use that for. Again, they may not look fabulous, but until you're finished, that's exactly what we would do. And from a green point of view, you're right. Think of the waste that we have in our homes that we're not using, that will just fill up landfill. And this is where my clients change. They never buy this way again. Never, ever, ever buy this way again. So once they have decided what to do with items in their home, that's the end of it. They will never waste the same way. So there are different places that you can take it. I know the local dump takes parts that they will then bring to electricians to see if they can. So there are drop-off points for all of those items. As you say, the clothes can be used again and again and again. A lot of my clients actually would think of your toiletries, especially. You have so many makeup not used. And what I would suggest you do on those nicer things is put them to one side and bring them into your local women's aid. There's women coming in the middle of the night, same with baby clothes, women coming in the middle of the night with nothing. Wouldn't they love that high-end mascara to help them, the lovely moisturizer, things we've taken for granted because they're in the back of a cupboard. Same with coats. My client from Monday was organising her coats, and we had 6 full bags of coats, and we were going to bring them to the charity shop. And then I got a message on social media, the homeless community really need coats. Now, these were brilliant winter coats. And again, they were high-end, they were fabulous. Wouldn't that be the most wonderful treat for somebody to put that on and feel amazing? So it's just thinking outside the box. And this is really utilising what you have and giving it to the right place so that the right thing can be done with it.
Yeah, no, I agree. That is, it is about doing that, actually. Okay, I did say I only had one more question, but I actually have another one. You know the gift that you get given?
Yeah.
That you don't need and you don't want, and the regifting of that gift. What are your thoughts on that one?
Oh, I was there. I would have regifted a lot, simply because it was in my home. I didn't like it. Now I would have struggled with regifting, because what if that person comes in and they see that I don't have it in my house or I'm not using it?
Yeah.
We then decided, once I did this, then we decided as a family that we were not going to exchange Christmas presents for that reason. We're buying for the sake of it. We're not giving. So we put the money that we would normally pay, and we have the most amazing summer holiday together. So we're having an experience instead.
Yeah.
So now is a good time for people to pass that information on. Go out for a meal all together, whatever money you would have spent, go out and have an experience together. So moving on, that's what you can do. But whenever you have it at the minute, the gift, as it's been handed over, that's the end of it as far as I'm concerned. That person is happy to hand it to you, to know that they have picked it, it's special to them, and handed it to you. And again, once you do your own KonMari, you will totally get this. It's okay then to decide, right, okay, this doesn't spark joy in me, but I know somewhere that will love it. So even bringing it to the charity shop, there's somebody will buy that and love it. And for you to hold on to it with those negative feelings isn't good. So don't feel guilty, really don't, but do then, with good time to spare, say to people, you know, I'm not doing Christmas presents this year, but instead I would like to, we could go out the week before, the week after, whatever it is. And you will notice they will be so relieved. They really will.
I completely agree on that one, actually. Yeah. I think going out and making a memory is way nicer than a gift. It depends if it's something maybe that you want. I don't know. That's there's two folds to it, isn't there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's different if it's something you want. Absolutely. But you know, whenever somebody's buying for somebody else, please give it a lot of thought. You don't want to waste your money, and you don't want them struggling with that decision what to do with it.
I know.
Ask them. Yeah.
And putting pressure on the person that if you give them a gift, they have to give you one back. Yeah.
Oh, that is so hard. And how much did she spend on that? I'm going to have to do it something. Yeah, absolutely.
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
Sharon, you have been really insightful and you've answered questions for me, and I hope that helps everyone else as well. I've kind of been a bit selfish asking all my questions. So if anyone needs to get hold of you to have the KonMari makeover done in their house by you, how can they do that?
Okay, so my company is called Serenity Sparks Joy. And the reason I called it that was, for me, serenity, I wanted serenity in my home. And for me, that sparked joy. So Serenity Sparks Joy. So they can follow me on social media, both Instagram and Facebook, and it is Serenity Sparks Joy. Or they can contact me on info@serenitysparksjoy.co.uk. And we can have a chat and see what's the best way forward. So I have courses that they roll up their sleeves and they do it themselves, fully automated, and they've lifetime access. Or I have virtual, I can do it virtually if you prefer, very successfully actually. Or I can actually come into your home. So there's myself alone, or I can bring my team of ladies in with me. Either's fine, whatever works best for them, but we'd normally have a conversation and see what the challenges, needs are, and then create a plan going forward.
So if anyone wants your help, can you say, I'm just thinking out loud here, say only work with the lady in their wardrobe and, you know, their own personal care, makeup and products that they use? Or is it the whole house you go through, or is it just certain areas? That's probably how I should have worded it better that way.
I tend to do it KonMari style. So we start with the clothes, the books, the papers, etc. However, I work within your budget. So if you're finding that you only have enough money for one category, we will work together, and then I'll give homework, tasks, I create a plan moving forward, and then I can come back for the next category. Again, it's giving the help where it's needed, and it's getting the right message from my clients as to what their needs are, and it's matching that up. So whatever's needed, I'll definitely work with, and see how best to bring it, you know, because nobody should be sitting in a home that's causing them stress. They really shouldn't. That should be our refuge. That should be our safe space. And if that's the case, just make a start, and at whatever way possible, just make a start.
Cool. Okay, thank you so much. And I'll put your details on in the comment box underneath. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Lucy.